Right. I'm going to touch on the project that Steve just mentioned, but I'm also going to talk about what the children think. I just want to go through some sort of opening bits about devices and things like that. So this is one man's view of mobile learning. This is a colleague of mine, Chris Nash, and he normally carries the smallest device that you can find, and he has many of them about his person. And on Wednesday, when I was walking to the conference, I encountered Chris with the biggest box that I've ever seen him with, and it is no doubt full of a wide range of devices. But the device isn't important, and I think most of the people here would agree with that, but the right device is. And not only that, it's about using it appropriately and looking at when you should use a handheld device, when you should use a desktop or a laptop, a whiteboard, or when do traditional teaching methods really lend themselves to doing the appropriate thing. So I think that's one thing that you always need to consider. Why use a handheld device against traditional teaching methods? It's about when does it make a real difference? When can you teach something that perhaps you can't teach in any other way? When can it have more impact? So those are the sort of things that I think people need to consider. The technology around mobile handheld devices offer a lot of things. I mean, what's clear from the work that's been done in Wolverhampton that I've been involved with, both when I was at the department and with Steljes, is there's a lot more parental involvement. You'll have all heard Dave Wiley talk about how now the children go home and rather than saying they did nothing at school, they want to show and tell about what they've done. So having the technology with the child makes a real difference. Anytime, anywhere learning. I think most people have talked about that throughout the week, and having a device in your hand 24/7 really enables that to happen. Collaborative and authentic learning. There's some work that's been done by Professor Nussbaum at the Catholic University in Santiago in Chile around a piece of software that's currently called EduNova, which brings children together and basically forces them to collaborate. And that's offering a really interesting look at how the handheld device can really add a different dimension in the classroom as well as out of the classroom. And authentic learning, something that Professor Angela McFarlane talks about to great extent. It's about, you know, the authentic learning experiences that having handheld devices on you at any time can bring. Universal access. The Minister talked yesterday about the Home Access Programme, and many countries around the world are looking at the possibility of one-to-one access, and safe and secure experiences that need to be taken seriously, and I'll come on to that in a second. There's all the debates around wireless and 3G. We'll hear more about that this morning, but now with 3G connectivity fairly wide, there's more opportunity for children really to be able to learn wherever they want, whenever they want. Some cities have developed wireless clouds, but it's still not prevalent across the country, and we're just looking for when WiMAX will come in and see what difference that makes. But currently through 3G, in a wide range of areas, you can get connectivity. One-to-one access. Doug Brown, my former boss, he thinks that it's a bit unfair that children should only be allowed one device when probably all of us have 2, 3, 4 or more. So one-to-one is a starting point. Perhaps children should have more. The whole issue around interoperability of device, platform, content, there's still a lot of work to be done on that. When I was working with the Wolverhampton project at the department, in order to see the true value of the device, we funded the porting of some of the existing educational software over to the PDA so that you could really see what could be done wherever. And that was quite a considerable investment just to port stuff across. So there needs to be consideration given when you're developing software as to its appropriate use on a handheld, because what we found, and you won't be surprised, is that you can't just take something that works on a desktop or a whiteboard and port it all across to a handheld device. You really need to consider what works on there and what you're really looking to do with it. The whole issue of cost. Currently, a lot of the devices cost a lot of money, so one-to-one access is maybe some way off. And the whole area of curriculum and assessment, been to a number of things recently where I think there's a general consensus that the curriculum and the way that we assess really needs to change in a changing world where children are doing things in a different way. So what do the children think? Thanks to Bob Hart and Carol Fletcher from Super Clubs, from Intuitive Media, they put a questionnaire up online on their safe, secure social network, Super Clubs Plus and Gold Star Cafe, and over 2,000 children responded to a wide range of questions about handheld mobile learning. So around 15% of them used them at school. 40% of them said that it helped them with their school, and 50-50 said yes, it did help them improve their learning, no it didn't. So that's what these children thought. The sort of things they used them for, and the definition of handheld was fairly broad. The majority of them had Nintendo DS's, PSPs, but there was still quite a large percentage had either smartphones or PDAs. Many of them used them for gaming. They like to talk to friends, checking their email, doing school stuff, homework stuff, and Super Clubs Plus, of course, because of that. So nothing really stunning. They're doing exactly what you think they would be doing. Around how it's helped them with their schoolwork, many of them say homework, researching, using the internet. A few said they access the school website. Many of them like having a handheld device so that they can organise not only their school life but also their social life. A few of them named specific subjects around where they saw they'd had specific help. But a large number of them said that it helped with things like hand-eye coordination and other things that just gave them confidence. A large number of them said that having a handheld made school more fun and helped them overcome the boredom of school. And it didn't mean that they were playing games on their DS while they sat at the back of the classroom. What they meant was actually having a handheld, using it, learning in a different way, really made school much more interesting and exciting. And not surprisingly, lots of them used brain training, and they found that, as Derek pointed out in his seminar, that many of them found that this helped them get on better with their maths. It also made school more fun, and they like to do it at home. The best things they've done at school, I'll pick out a few of these. I went to BAFTA 2007 with it. I know this is relating to James Blomfield, who's a teacher down in Kent, and this is the Be Very Afraid exhibition that Stephen Heppel has run over the last 3 years. And James brought up a group of his children, and they showed how it was helping with their reading, their writing, numeracy, learning nouns through rapping, using handheld devices. So for that child, being able to go to something like that and show what they've done really made a difference. And you know, Stephen's done a very good job with that, allowing children who perhaps don't get exposure about the good things they're doing to be able to be seen by a large number of people. Someone else who said they impressed their French teacher by speaking lots of French that they learnt on a translator. The bottom one's really interesting. Cheated at tests. Did they cheat? Or is it just that the assessment system we have means that if you do something, like Mark Prensky mentioned, if your child phones you up at an unusual time in the day and asks you a very unusual question, and you probably know that they're in an exam, would you give them the answer? And if you did, is it wrong? So I think the whole notion about what is and isn't acceptable needs to be considered. But currently these children using these devices perhaps think that they're cheating in the tests they've done. Sort of things they dislike, no surprise here. Battery life too small, screens too small, buttons too small, doesn't load fast enough, too expensive. A lot of things around health issues. Lots of them said they'd like a time limit on how long they could use it. And that was across all devices, which was quite interesting because the myth is perpetuated that give a child a games console and they'll sit there all day and play it. Some of them will, some of them won't, but certainly these children felt that they would like a time limit put on how long they could actually use something. They want more memory, they're too easily broken, and one of the things that does concern them is through things like smartphones, the ability to talk to strangers. The sort of things they would like to change in the future are bigger screens, smaller bodies, having a touch screen, which many smartphones do, waterproof, get homework help. Lots of them wanted to be able to work remotely, contact their teacher or someone who they could get help with their homework using their handheld device. Access anywhere, and lots of them, and I mean a percentage, wanted everyone to get one for free, which in an ideal world would be great. So that's what the children think, and they're going to talk about a project that was run between Islington CLC and The Guardian. It was a project over about a period of a month where 2 schools from North London came together, supported by a Guardian journalist, and looked at how to report and how to write an article for a newspaper. So using handheld devices out in the streets of Islington, interviewing people about topical subjects. Back in the classroom, using the Learn News Desk product to put together their article, the journalist offering advice, using newspapers and all sorts of things. A really interesting project, and I'll just show the video about that now.
Well, I'm a journalist, and so I've been telling the children about what I do in my job.
Well, lots of children in this country are not as lucky as you. Mad, yeah? Could be. Bored, Brittany, yeah? Who said that? Yeah, come back.
We're doing a project on mobile phones, and we've been asking people, do you think it's suitable for children to have mobile phones in primary school?
We interviewed some people, asked them a few questions. Some said it is suitable for children, some said it ain't.
Too much money is being spent on the Olympics.
But after the Olympics, they'll leave a legacy, and an enormous area will be renovated.
A report about MSN and whether adults think it's suitable for children.
We're listening to our recordings that we recorded on the day we went to Chapel Market.
What we're doing is we're bringing together all the things that we've done for the past couple of weeks with this project. Man, not like the longer leisurely deadlines you get at school, but it's like, you have this amount of time, do it. It's quite cool. It's like, I'm in demand.
So I think you can see that they certainly enjoyed using the devices they had, but they only had them for a month. Wouldn't it be great if they could do things like that all the time? And you know, there's lots of things going on like that. The stuff that Dave Wiley's done in Wolverhampton with the field trips down to the south of Wales using GPS. That's really, I think, where a lot of the power of the handheld device, just enabling the pedagogy and the way that children learn, can be completely transformed.